So, hello everybody, and welcome back to this new video. This is going to be a completely different video to how I've done everything else. Usually whenever I have a topic video, I usually have the camera facing towards me whenever I do these kinds of videos. But I feel like I wanted to do it in a bit of a different way this time, where I've got gameplay in the background while I'm just talking about something. And this has been on my mind for quite some time now. And it's something that I just do not understand. It's the understanding of why Triple H and Shawn Michaels are supposed to be, quote-unquote, Bookers of the Year. How I've seen it on the internet all the time. Like, oh, they deliver good shows. I mean, like, if you're just someone who just enjoys everything, then of course you're going to be satisfied. But I don't get the appeal of why people think a person is a good booker, because in your eyes, they do things differently to you. And there's a good... And the only reason why people think Shawn Michaels and Triple H are good bookers is because Vince is not there. That's the only reason why people think they're good. The only reason why people think they're good is because, well, Vince ain't there anymore. Vince is not there anymore, so why should everyone say the shows are bad? But what if I told you guys that that Triple H is just a mini Vince McMahon? He's just a mini version of Vince McMahon, and I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me on this assessment, because everybody believes Triple H can't do no wrong, and oh, everything Triple H does is good, but... And it's all... And I also do blame the fans as well. Like, the fans themselves are also a part of the problem. So, Triple H, he's supposed to be this awesome booker who doesn't do no wrong. He's supposed to be this creative genius who is supposed to be better than Vince McMahon. But yet when Emma, Tenille Dashwood, made her return to WWE for the first time in 5 years, last year, in 2022 in October, round about the same time she was released, the first time, and under Triple H, she gets 0 wins on television. On television, she had no wins under her belt. She lost every single match, and I'm not counting live events, and I'm not counting main event. And for those who do count those shows, then, well, you have no room for an argument in this particular video, because I'm not arguing about a non-televised event that I don't watch. Main event is not a televised show. Sure, it may air on TV, but it's not a show that people watches. It's not a show that means anything, if you know what I mean. Like, main event, it's not like main event has their own set of championships and their own set of storylines. Main event is just 2 random matches taking place with no story behind it. Just matches taking place with 0 story, and just 2 wrestlers just go out there and wrestle. That's all what main event is. And it's also just a recap show of what happened on Raw, and that's really all that what main event is. That's really all that main event is. It's nothing special. So, yes, Emma did get 1 win on that show over Roxanne Perez, but I'm not counting that as an actual win for Emma. I consider Raw and SmackDown matches. I'm only counting matches I see on Raw and SmackDown, and Emma had 0 wins on Raw and SmackDown. SmackDown, in her return, she lost to Ronda Rousey. She lost to Ronda Rousey in her return there. And then she went on to lose several more matches, went on to have a little mini feud with Scarlett Bordeaux, lost that feud with Madcap Moss, and then after that, they kind of buggered off. they kind of buggered off for a while, and then Emma was just brought back on TV just to be an enhancement talent against other people. Then she got drafted to Raw and did nothing. Came out to have it be an enhancement talent for Shayna Baszler for her feud against Ronda Rousey, and that was basically it. So Emma basically lost 100% of her matches televised. Every match she had was televised, was a loss. So Triple H is supposed to be this awesome booker. Why did he have one of his quote-unquote Triple H girls go on a 100% losing streak upon her return? And then, not soon after, she was brought back to the company, about nearly, like, around the time WWE announced that they're going to Australia. Around about the time they started promoting them going to Australia next year, WWE then proceeded to release Emma on the day they announced they were going to Australia. Do you have any idea how much of a disrespect that is to Emma? You announce you're going to Australia, but then you fire her on the day. She even tweeted about it. She even tweeted about how she is excited to go to the show, but then she puts another quote tweet over the top of that tweet of her saying her excitement of being in Australia, then puts out a quote tweet saying she is no longer in the company. I consider that a massive slap to the face. That is even worse than CM Punk getting fired on his wedding day. So, there's that. There are several other things that I can say that are pretty bad, especially on the side of Shawn Michaels, because, again, some of you may say, I don't watch NXT, so I have no room to say Triple H is terrible. Like, Shawn Michaels is terrible because of his booking, and yes, I do partially watch NXT, but not all of it. I only watch for my favorites. I only watch for wrestlers that I like. And one of those was Cora Jade. Now, the booking of her was fine at the start, but then it got worse. How do you have Cora Jade lose to Natalya is anybody's guess. And I want to know. I wish I was a fly in the room when Shawn Michaels said, yes, we should have Cora Jade lose to Natalya. And also, not only after Roxanne and Cora Jade won the NXT Women's Tag Team titles, Shawn Michaels then comes up with the brilliant idea to just turn Cora Jade heel. Instead of just having Cora Jade, be the person to dethrone Mandy, which it should have been her the entire time. I will argue with a wall that I still believe Cora Jade should have been the one to dethrone Mandy Rose and not Roxanne Perez, but, Roxanne Perez became the company's golden girl. She became the company's golden girl, and look, I love Roxanne, I'm still a fan of Roxanne, but Roxanne began to start getting booed on NXT. I saw a clip and she got booed on NXT once. I don't think it's happened again since then, but she got booed on NXT one week, and I couldn't help but to laugh. Because, again, it's the same old shenanigans. You're having Roxanne win all these feuds, and you're having Roxanne win every single match she's in, but then when she actually does lose, you get people complaining about, oh, she lost to so-and-so, or she lost to this person. How do you have she lose to this person? And I've been telling certain people that Roxanne's had her time in the spotlight. She had her time in the spotlight. She got her run with the title. Yes, it could have been better. That's not her fault. That's Triple H's fault. Not Triple H. That's Shawn Michaels' fault for booking Roxanne's title reign so terribly. And also, she wasn't supposed to win the title on the day that Mandy Rose dropped it. Mandy got fired the day after. So everything just went to shit, and so Mandy's firing got more attention than Roxanne winning the title. And I find that funny, and I kind of find that really hilarious. But then they had Roxanne drop her title to Indy Hartwell in that ladder match. Many people consider that a really dumb decision. I consider it a great decision because I feel Indy Hartwell deserved a title reign. But her title reign didn't last very long because soon after that, she would then get drafted to Raw, and then after that, Indy Hartwell goes from being a champion to being a chump within months of being on the main roster and getting put back in a useless tag team that I know a lot of people on the internet for some reason love, which I have no crazy reason why people love The Way. I never liked The Way. I considered The Way absolutely terrible. I don't know why people liked The Way, but they did, and people wanted her to go back with them, and I did not want that. I wanted Indy Hartwell to stay as a singles competitor, because that's how it should be. Indy Hartwell got over on her own. She didn't need Candice. She didn't need Johnny. She didn't need Candice. She didn't need Johnny. She certainly didn't need any of them to get over. At the start of her career, yes, she could use them at the start of her career. Because it was a launching pad for the start of her career. Yes, it worked then. It worked as a launching pad for the beginning of Indy Hartwell's career. But we don't need to see it again, and again, and again, and again. I'm tired of seeing reunions of these freaking groups that, if you're not a fan, of course, if you're a fan of it, then of course you want to see it again, but I was never a fan of The Way. I much rather Indy Hartwell on her own, because obviously it was a lot better she was a lot better on her own. She actually got better on her own. And she's another one of those superstars that the internet wrestling community for some reason has a major issue with, because I always see the internet say that, I've always heard a lot of people say she's one of the worst wrestlers on the planet. If Indy Hartwell is so terrible, then how come she's on the main roster? If she's that terrible, why was she NXT Women's Champion? You know the company sees a lot in her if they put the title on her. But even then, the company's booking of her, even then, is still trash. So again, if Triple H and Shawn Michaels are supposed to be great bookers, then why do they not give other people a chance? You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of examples of this. There are a lot of examples. Like, if Triple H is supposed to be better than Vince, why was it that Triple H was the one that made the decision to have Cody Rhodes lose to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania this year? Think about that. If Triple H is supposed to be better, and Triple H, fixes the problems and fixes everything that's wrong with WWE, why did he not take the title off Roman Reigns? Vince McMahon brought Cody Rhodes back for one reason only, to be the guy to take down Roman Reigns. And it was reported that Vince McMahon was unhappy with the decision of Roman going over. And I know a lot of people may say, that is impossible. Vince McMahon loves Roman Reigns. Why would he be upset? Like I said, he brought him in to be the guy to conquer Roman Reigns. But because Triple H was named head of creative, he's the one that made the decision to have Roman go over. So again, if he's supposed to be this great booker that listens to the fans and listens to the audience, how come he hasn't taken the title off Roman? If he listens to the audience, why has he not split up the tag team titles yet? Remember when Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville won the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships? Sonya's first title, how everyone was so happy for her, and then she got injured, and then a report came out saying that the company was so happy for Chelsea and Sonya that, oh, they're changing the game in the women's tag team division and they're going to be the focal point. They're going to be the main focus to revive the women's tag team division. That is what they said about Chelsea and Sonya winning the titles. They're going to be the main attraction. They're going to be the team that revives the women's tag team titles. And what has happened to those tag team titles ever since? Absolute bugger all. Absolute bugger all. I know Sonya got hurt, but that's no excuse. If you're saying Chelsea Green is helping revive the tag division, she and Piper Niven, and I love Piper. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy for Piper Niven to get the push that she is getting. But seriously, she and Chelsea have barely ever defended the titles. Yes, they get featured, but, you know, Chelsea is terrible. I'm sorry, I know a lot of people like Chelsea, but she's terrible. Chelsea Green is god-awful. She's god-awful. She's god-awful. There's nothing good about her. I find her insufferable. I find her absolutely insufferable. Another thing that I absolutely hate about Triple H's booking is with the recent call-ups, we had this year in the WWE draft. You know, if Triple H is, again, supposed to be this great booker that knows what he's doing, is supposed to be this great booker and he knows how to turn the company around, then how come of all the people that he called up to the main roster, other than Zoe Stark, because she's the only one that's actually been used since being called up, other than Zoe Stark, because I'm not counting her, because she's actually been used, when you've got Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, and Indy Hartwell, and even the more responsible one, the more biggest examples of them, was Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Why even bother calling these people up if you're going to have absolutely nothing for them? Yes, we've seen Katana and Kaden a bit recently. Yes, the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile have now been called up. And sure, they may be getting a push now. They may be getting a bit of a push now, but let's see how long that lasts. Let's see how long that push lasts. And even Grayson Waller, sure, Grayson Waller's like one of the only other successful call-ups that's happened, even though he's being paired up with Austin Theory, one of the most annoying guys on the roster. Even Grayson Waller is at least doing good stuff. But the thing that pisses me off the most is that the company will say, oh, they are high on this person. They are really high on this person, but the person they say they're high on consistently loses. You know, they said they were high on Grayson Waller. He lost several matches. They said they were very happy with Katana and Kaden's debut match against Ronda and Shayna, that they would get a push. And what was their push? Being off TV for several months, come back on TV just to lose again and again and again. And let's not forget about Tegan Nox. Oh boy, another one of Triple H's girls, apparently. Tegan Nox is apparently supposed to be this massive Tegan Nox. Tegan Nox is supposed to be this massive supporter of Triple H. Oh, she's the biggest Triple H girl of them all. She's the biggest Triple H girl of them all. She will absolutely, 100%, no question about it, be on TV and consistently pushed up high enough to where she will be challenging for championship gold. You better watch out, Rhea Ripley, because Tegan Nox is coming for you. Oh, no, that is not the case at all. That is absolutely not the case at all. Tegan Nox has been booked absolutely atrociously since being called up since returning to WWE on SmackDown. She was tagging with Liv Morgan for at least a week. She tagged with Liv Morgan for like 1 week, buggered off, and was off TV, never to be seen again, drafted to Raw, Magic worked as a heel on Main Event, even though I'm not counting Main Event, but I want to bring that up because that actually did happen. She worked briefly as a heel on Main Event, even though a heel Tegan doesn't sound terrible. I think if you can, get a good story behind it, I think Tegan could be a decent heel. It does sound interesting if you wanted. It does sound interesting on paper, but there was no reason for her to be a heel. It just randomly happened. Like, no story, unlike Drew McIntyre's heel turn, there was just no story behind Tegan randomly being a bad girl, but whatever. But yeah, so she worked recently as a heel on Main Event, even though I don't count anything that happens on that pile of junk. And then she comes back on Raw because Becky Lynch is the NXT Women's Champion, and oh boy, we will get to Becky and all those NXT and the NXT stuff in a moment. We'll get to that very soon, don't you worry about that. So Tegan then just starts randomly appearing on TV when Becky Lynch is the NXT Women's Champion. And then, ever since then, she's kind of been booked since then. But most of the times that she's been on TV, she's lost. So again, people can say, oh, they're on TV, so it shows you that Triple H does like them. Triple H only started using all the other girls because Becky won the NXT Women's Championship. She won the NXT Women's Championship. That was the only reason they started using those other people. Because Becky Lynch made the demands to get more people on, to get more of the girls on TV, because she wanted to work with some of the other girls. And that's the only other reason. That was the only reason Tegan Nox and all them started getting TV time. And a lot of people are going to say, well, you should be thanking Becky Lynch for them being on TV. Well, you know what I say to that? I say no. We should not be thanking Becky Lynch, because Triple H should be the one to know. Triple H is the frickin' booker of these shows, and he should be the one and he should know to book these people on the show. Not be reminded by someone. Not be told by someone, hey, I'm going to win a title and you better start using the other girls on the show. It should be you, as the person in charge, should know, oh yes, these people should definitely be in charge. Nick Khan should be aware of all this. Nick Khan is the guy in charge now. He's the new CEO. He's in Vince's seat now. He's in Vince's seat. But Triple H is the head of creative. He's the guy that makes all the creative decisions. He makes all the creative decisions. Vince McMahon's not there anymore, so people can't blame Vince McMahon for everything. So Vince ain't there anymore. But the fact that people just continuously praise Triple H for everything is absolutely crazy. And let's not forget about Damage Control. How their booking has been. Their booking has been up and down, up and down, up and down. They started off strong, and then Super Saiyan Bianca Belair came along and destroyed all of them, and destroyed their credibility. And then they brought back Lita to have a small tag team title run, only to bring back Trish Stratus for another run, which God help us all. And then Damage Control, and then Io goes on to win Money in the Bank and wins the women's title. So I guess that can be one of the only rare positives. I guess you can look at that as one of the rare positives for Triple H, that Io Sky is getting a decent push out of all of it. But at the end of the day, I just don't care for Damage Control. I'm kind of tired of Damage Control. But the bad thing about Damage Control is that they're consistently feuding with Bianca, Charlotte, and now Shotzi. Like, that's the other terrible thing about it. Now they're just in this never-ending feud. That will just go on and on and on. At least the men's War Games match ended their rivalry with the Judgment Day. The War Games match did not end the women's War Games did not end their rivalry, and that's a good way. And that is an absolutely perfect way to diminish the War Games match. The War Games match should be like the Hell in a Cell match. It should be designed to end feuds. But no, let's keep having Bianca Belair chase Io. Because Bianca Belair being the new John Cena, and of course people see that as a good thing, and of course people see that as a good thing and not as a bad thing, I consider it a bad thing. People hated the way John Cena was booked. People hated the way John Cena was booked. And the fact that I see people actually being okay with Bianca being booked, similar to how John Cena was, it just makes me want to throw up. It really does. It makes me go, why are you encouraging this? Like, weren't you people, like, everyone had an issue with John Cena wins, LOL. Everybody hated it. Everybody pointed the finger at John Cena like, oh, he buried Wade Barrett. He buried Alex Riley. He buries young talent. John Cena was accused of burying young talent for decades. But then I'm hearing people being okay with Bianca being put in the same light. You're putting Bianca in the same light, saying, yes, I like Bianca being a Super Cena. It's just dumb. It's really dumb. I don't like it. Like, I've never been the biggest Bianca Belair fan. Never really was the biggest fan of her. But for those that did like her, I respected their opinion. And don't get me wrong, Bianca is a great wrestler. Even if I'm not a fan of her, I will say she's great. She is a phenomenal wrestler. She's really good. But there are times Bianca is a bit sloppy. There are some times I think Bianca does have a bad match. And there are some issues with Bianca that I have, and I know some people aren't going to be a fan of me bringing this up, but I don't care. Bianca has a reputation of yelling at her opponents when they're not in... She has a reputation of yelling at some of her opponents. I've seen this on TV. This year alone has been one of the years where she just consistently yells at her opponents and she gets annoyed at them for not being in position. There was the one match with Alexa Bliss. I think it was on Raw when she challenged for the title on Raw. I remember Bianca got really, really angry with Alexa because Alexa, is not like Bianca. Because, Bianca is always those... Like, Bianca's style is that she works fast. She wrestles fast and she works fast. And she expects people to keep up with her. Like how Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Bayley, they all keep up with her, obviously. Because, that's who they are. But, yeah, Bianca got really, really mad at Alexa Bliss one time. She got really mad at Alexa Bliss one time. And their matches turned out to be really darn shit. But Bianca versus Alexa was a rivalry everyone was craving for. And then when the matches happened, people were like, oh my god, the matches were so terrible. But people mainly blamed it on Alexa Bliss. I think Bianca Belair has also more to blame than Alexa, in my opinion. And there was another time I remember her shouting at somebody. I think the other time I remember her shouting at someone was Sonya Deville. And I know you guys may be sick of hearing me say I'm not a fan of so-and-so, but I was not the biggest Sonya Deville fan either. But here's the thing, like, I can't remember what match it was, but I know that they wrestled a couple of times when Sonya was still an authority figure. I think it was during her authority figure time when she challenged for the women's title, I think, when Bianca was still champion. And I remember, like, Bianca got really frustrated at her during the match. Like, how in the world do you have someone like Bianca get frustrated at the person they're working with and their matches don't turn out to be very good? Like, their matches don't turn out to be really good, but then you got Bianca physically getting angry at the people she's working with. And now recently, the same thing happened with Kairi Sane. The same thing recently just happened with Kairi Sane. And I heard and I heard people saying that Bianca was really getting angry with Kairi because Kairi was working slower. She was working at a different pace than her because Bianca's always the fast-paced type. Well, I'm sorry, Bianca, but everyone has a different style than you. It's your job as a wrestler to work with those styles and adapt to different styles. It's your job to adapt to different styles. Not expect everybody else to basically ditch their style just to work on your level. So now let's get to NXT. Let's get to my biggest problem with NXT. The booking of main roster stars being on NXT. I absolutely hate that Shawn Michaels is just bringing main roster talent onto NXT. He's just letting them all just appear on NXT. You know, he's supposed to be the guy in charge of NXT, but he's just okay with main roster people just coming on down to his show and hell, even winning their titles. It's that, and I blame, and I'm not gonna blame it on Dolph Ziggler because I know it's really the creative's direction. Creative, they're the ones that made the decision, not Dolph Ziggler. Like, the creative then started off with Dolph Ziggler winning the NXT title from Bron Breakker, only to have Bron Breakker win the title back on Raw after Mania. And then, as I said, same thing happened with Cora Jade, where she lost to Natalya. I will always be very pissed off at Shawn Michaels for doing that. And then he also had Cora Jade lose to Dana Brooke. Because Dana Brooke definitely needed that victory over Cora Jade more than the NXT talent needed it. He's also had the New Day win the NXT tag team titles. Hell, we even now have Dirty Dominic Mysterio with the NXT North American Championship. Not once, but twice! Not once, but twice. And then we get Becky Lynch winning the NXT Women's Championship. I remember when Charlotte Flair did this. Everybody hated it. Everybody hated it. When Charlotte Flair, a main roster star, went down to NXT and challenged for the NXT Women's Championship. And then Becky Lynch does the exact same thing. Oh, but nothing is wrong with it. There's no problems with Becky Lynch going down to NXT. Because, oh, we love Becky. That's a big difference. We love Becky. Charlotte, it's different. It's not different. It's exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. Even I criticized WWE for the decision to have Charlotte Flair win the NXT Women's Championship. And I'm the biggest Charlotte Flair supporter ever. I'm one of her biggest supporters. And even I will call out WWE for their bullshit. People who support anything that WWE do are just super fans. They're just super fans that'll accept anything. Becky Lynch should not have won the NXT Women's Championship. They only had her win it just so then they can say, oh, Becky Lynch is a Grand Slam champion now. She's won every women's championship available to her as a female athlete. That's the only reason they had her win the belt. You can't say they had her win the belt for anything else other than that. They actually had her win the title just so NXT can build ratings. NXT were in the middle of a war with AEW, so they had her win the title for that. If you need main roster stars to go down to NXT just to battle with AEW, that tells me you have no faith in the current talent you have on your roster. I'm sorry. If you need Cody Rhodes, The Undertaker, John Cena, Becky Lynch to all go down to NXT just to beat AEW in the ratings, that tells me that NXT wouldn't be able to draw any ratings with just the people they have on their roster. That's what that tells me. That tells me that they have absolutely no faith in the talent they have on their own bloody roster to win in ratings. So I guess Roxanne Perez doesn't draw enough ratings. Kiana James doesn't draw ratings. Bron Breakker isn't a draw. Cora Jade isn't a draw. You know? I guess all the... Like, NXT is a developmental system. It's the developmental system. That's what NXT is. It's a developmental brand. But yet we're seeing guys like AJ Styles beat Grayson Waller. Natalya beating Cora Jade. Dana Brooke beating Cora Jade. Rhea Ripley. They had Rhea Ripley go down to NXT. Have her beat Roxanne and Lyra Valkyria. They've now got Alpha Academy down there. Working with Noam Dar. And I don't see the appeal in Noam Dar's faction. They've got Alpha Academy working with them. Like, seriously. Like, what's the appeal of having main roster guys go down to NXT? I just don't get it. It's called a developmental system for a reason. It's meant to develop new superstars. Oh, but you see, Patrick, moving main roster stars to NXT means the developmental talent will get better. You know, Rhea Ripley actually helped Roxanne as a wrestler. Natalya helped Cora Jade as an athlete. You know, it didn't do anything for them. If you want these main roster talents to do stuff for the NXT guys, then maybe they should, I don't know, lose the match. If they were down there to do that, I'd be fine with it. If Natalya went down and put over Cora Jade, I wouldn't be saying this. I wouldn't be saying how much I hate it. It would have showed that Natalya cared enough to elevate the younger, talented superstar. Did Cora Jade, like, hell, even though that Cora Jade did beat Dana Brooke by technical submission, can someone tell me what a victory over Dana Brooke would do for the career of Cora Jade? I would love to someone to tell me how much a victory that would have meant for Cora Jade. A big win over Dana Brooke. How would have helped Cora's career? Even if she did beat Dana Brooke. Even if she did defeat Dana Brooke. How is that going to elevate her to the next level? Dana Brooke is not Rhea Ripley. She's not Charlotte Flair. She's not a multi-time women's champion. She's not someone that can elevate other people. There's no way you can tell me Cora Jade would have benefited from the feud even if she won that feud. Tiffany Stratton. I'm not the biggest fan of her either. I'm not the biggest Tiffy fan. I'm more resentful that Shawn Michaels picked her to win the frickin' title tournament over Cora Jade. When it was clear as day, right in front of his face, who should have won that whole tournament, but nah, Tiffany Stratton should win it because we think she's ready. While everyone else knew she wasn't. Well, most of us knew she was not ready. A lot of us knew Tiffany was not ready, but that didn't stop the company. They felt she was ready, and of course, her title reign gets negative criticism. Why does it get negative criticism? Oh, because her feud with Thea Hale was terrible. Yeah, but Tiffany Stratton is apparently ready. And if WWE believed Tiffany was ready, they wouldn't have had her drop the title to Becky Lynch right after that feud ended. Because as soon after her feud with Thea Hale ended, they moved her into a storyline with Becky Lynch. That told me they had no faith in her as champion. Should have gone with Shawn Michaels. You should have gone with Cora Jade there, Shawn Michaels. Guarantee you, Cora Jade would have done a better job as champion than little Barbie. Than little Barbie Stratton. Guarantee it. She would have been a better she would have been a better challenger for Thea Hale. She would have been a better champion for Thea Hale. Guarantee it. And let's not forget about JC Jane and Gigi Dolan. My God, they have fallen from grace since Toxic Attraction ended. Ever since Toxic Attraction ended, I think JC Jane has suffered the most than Gigi. Though Gigi has suffered, I think JC has suffered more. JC has suffered more because she barely wins matches, and now she's in a silly angle with Chase University. Gigi, though she gets TV time, sometimes she wins, sometimes she loses, but ultimately I really think Toxic Attraction really was the ending of Toxic Attraction was their death nail. They could have easily just sent them both to the main roster as a tag team. They could have kept the Toxic Attraction thing going on the main roster even if they didn't have Mandy there. But no, because Toxic Attraction's gone and Mandy Rose got released, we gotta erase all that Mandy Rose stuff. We gotta erase everything about Mandy Rose. Gotta get rid of her faction. Gotta not acknowledge her existence. Let's not acknowledge her existence. Let's erase her entire faction. Let's just take away her faction and just act like none of this ever happened. Let's just completely turn everything around. Let's just completely get rid of everything that we did. Because screw you. That's why. That's just another terrible thing. And Blair Davenport, boy oh boy, someone I really like. And I know there are some people I know that are not the biggest fans of her, but I think a lot of people can hear me out on this. Even if you're not a fan of a certain somebody, even you should know that the booking is completely dumb. Even if you're not a fan of somebody, and this is the problem, before I get to my my problems with Blair Davenport, because she's another one of my favorites, I have a serious problem with certain people not understanding my criticisms. Because if I criticize something, then people are ultimately going to assume I'm a fan of that particular person. Like, with Tiffany Stratton, for example. I have hated the fact they had Tiffany Stratton lose her title to Becky Lynch. You put all that effort into her, even though we knew she was not ready. You put all that effort into her just to have her lose the title to Becky Lynch. And because I had a serious issue with it, and I was like, well, if you want to make Tiffany's title reign better, maybe having her beat Becky Lynch could have elevated her title reign a little bit more. Having her beat Becky clean would have elevated her championship reign. Just because someone's title reign is bad doesn't mean take the belt off them. Just because someone's title reign is terrible doesn't mean, oh, let's just take the belt off that person. Instead of just putting your hands up and admitting defeat, why not fix it? Why not do better? Why not do better with Tiffany's storytelling? Do you want to know why her feud with Thea Hale was so terrible? Was because the whole build was Tiffany saying that Thea Hale wouldn't be able to make her tap out. And then Thea would then just tap her out. That was the whole story. Tiffany saying, you can't tap me out. And then Thea then puts her in the arm lock and then she taps. That is why that's why their feud was terrible, because they made Tiffany look like a chump. They made her look pathetic. They made her look weak as the champion. That's why her feud with Thea was bad. It was the booking. It was Shawn Michaels' booking and how he booked her as the champion. Just because a title reign is terrible doesn't mean end the experiment. It means maybe you should do better. It means you should do better. That's what it means. It means you should do better. Fix the problem. Don't fix the issue. Don't just end it. It basically tells me that they knew Tiffany was not ready and they ultimately gave up. They just decided to throw in the towel and give up. Pass the title to Becky Lynch. Oh, she'll make the title better. And then they passed the title to Lyra Valkyria is how they say her name. I kept calling her Lara Valkyrie. Like, Taya Valkyrie. So, and she's only defended the title once, and that was against Xia Li. So, yeah, she hasn't been doing very well with the title either. She hasn't been doing very well with the title either. She's only defended the title once in a span of 2 months since she won it. So yeah, that is just something I hate. So and again, I hate how certain people interpretate it as, oh, I'm a fan of Tiffany Stratton because I'm complaining about her title reign being bad and they took the belt off her. No, I'm complaining about her reign because they could have done a whole lot better with it. If they wanted me to be a fan of Tiffany, they should have just done a whole lot better with her title reign. And I knew she wasn't ready. I knew she was not ready for the belt. I knew she wasn't ready to be champion. It should have been Cora. It should have been Cora from the beginning. It should have been Cora from the very beginning. Even back when Mandy Rose had the belt, it should have been Cora. It should have been Cora who ended Indy Hartwell's title reign, but Indy never lost her belt due to injury. It should have been Cora who won the NXT tournament, but nope, they went with the Barbie. They went with Tiffany Stratton, and then they booked her title reign terribly. I guarantee you, if Cora Jade was champion, I guarantee you, she would have done a better job making Thea Hale a whole lot better. She would have made Thea Hale look a lot better than what Tiffany Stratton did. Tiffany Stratton hurt Thea Hale's momentum. And also her title reign hurt Tiffany Stratton as well. So again, instead of just giving up, you should be doing a better job at making the title reign better. So now let's get on to my final point before I end this video. Blair Davenport, another girl I'm a big fan of. Their booking of her has been very odd as of late. They brought her in as this badass who's going around attacking girls, putting them on the shelf, like Sol Ruka, Nikita Lyons, Wendy Chu, etc., etc. They've been going around, they've been having her go around beating up all these girls looking like a badass. And then as soon as she targets Roxanne Perez, they have a match at Great American Bash. Which I believe it was a Weapons Wild match. No, that's Halloween Havoc. They had like a no disqualification match. And of course, Roxanne Perez won the match. Instead of keeping Blair Davenport looking dominant, they had her lose. They had her lose to Roxanne Perez because the Golden Girls got to win everything, because the Golden Girls got to go over. Because the Golden Girl of NXT has to be the person that wins everything. And then Blair Davenport kind of went on to this little mini feud with Gigi, which I didn't mind because I like Gigi as well, so it was a decent enough feud. Blair Davenport won that feud, so that's a positive. And now they've got her in the Iron Survivor Challenge, and then they had Nikita Lyons come back, and again as I said, she's supposed to be this badass that Blair Davenport is supposed to be this intimidating badass who is not afraid of anyone. Nikita Lyons makes her return, and now she's bloody quivering in fear. She's quivering in fear from Nikita Lyons making her return. Nikita Lyons is terrible. Nikita Lyons is another one of those terrible, terrible wrestlers. WWE pushed so many terrible wrestlers. They pushed terrible wrestlers like Zoe Stark, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Raquel. They push so many bad people. Instead of utilizing the good wrestlers on your roster, you gotta keep pushing terrible, terrible people. But of course, they may be terrible to us. But to the company, they see something in them. Which I would like to know what they see in them, personally. But, it is what it is, I guess. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And as a fan, it really upsets me. As a fan, it upsets me to see that people just continue to think that Triple H and Shawn Michaels are great bookers. Again, I could go on and say a whole lot more. There is a whole lot more that I could say about this whole situation. There's a whole lot more I could say. I don't like that they're pushing Nia Jax. I even hate how the fans crap on Rhea Ripley. I hate how the crowd crap on Rhea Ripley, even though they were the ones that wanted her champion in the first place. Because I remember when she challenged Charlotte Flair, they all wanted her to win. They didn't want Charlotte Flair to bury her again. And Charlotte did put her over clean. And then here we are. About 200 plus days. I think it's 250 days in Rhea's reign. Everyone is talking about how she's terrible. That her title reign is terrible. Oh, she rarely defends her title. Well, I hate to break it to you guys. She's defended it more than Roman Reigns has. She's defended her title this year more than Roman Reigns has defended his title. She's defended her title against Natalya. Twice against Natalya. She's defended her title twice against Natalya. She defended her title twice against Raquel. That's 4. She defended it against Zoe Stark. And that fatal 5-way, that totals up to 6 times. That totals up to 6 title defenses. But she's terrible. But Rhea is a bad champion. What, because she's not Gunther? Because she doesn't defend her title like Gunther? Everyone just wants every champion to be like Gunther. And don't get me wrong, I love Gunther's title reign. But Jesus freaking Christ, people expect every champion to be like Gunther. They expect every single champion to be like Gunther. Roman Reigns isn't even like Gunther. Roman's title reign isn't like Gunther. But people still praise his title reign. Despite Roman's title reign for the last 3 years has been ref bump, bloodline interference, spear, and win. At least Rhea Ripley can actually, win on her own without Judgment Day interference. At least she actually can successfully retain her title on her own. People can talk about that she barely does anything with the belt. But she actually retains clean. She can actually win on her own. She doesn't need Dirty Dom. She doesn't need Dominic. She doesn't need Damien. She doesn't need JD. She doesn't need Finn. She doesn't need any of them. Rhea doesn't need the Judgment Day. As far as I'm concerned, I want her out of the Judgment Day. I've been wanting her out of the Judgment Day for a while. I've been wanting her away from Dominic Mysterio for a long ass time. But Triple H is one of those guys that says, hey, we listen to our audience. We give our audience what they want. Okay, so you're willing to give the audience CM Punk. You will deliver the audience CM Punk, but you won't give the audience. Better storylines. But you won't give us, more women. But you won't book your divisions better. You won't give us Rhea Ripley wrestling more on TV. You won't move Rhea Ripley away from the Judgment Day. Fans have been wanting her away from the Judgment Day. Fans have been wanting her out of the Judgment Day. But sure, you listen to the audience. So that's about it. That's really all I can really give to you guys. That's really everything that I can really give. And I guess the only other positive that I can really give is, though that I'm a massive fan of Charlotte Flair, I will say the only other positive that I can give Triple H's booking is that he has pushed Charlotte Flair out of the title picture a bit. Sure, she may still compete for the title here and there, but recently she's kind of been working out of the title picture. Sure, she's still feuding with Damage Control, but she's kind of been working out of the title division. She's been derailed. Like, she's lost a whole lot more this year. She put over Rhea Ripley clean. She's put over Io Sky twice. She's been losing a lot more this year than she's been winning. She's been losing a lot more this year than she's been winning. And now she's been downgraded into a tag team with Shotzi. So again, that's the only other decent booking decision, I guess, in the eyes of many. That is the only other good decision Triple H has made, but even then, is that enough to convince the audience that Charlotte Flair, does care about the future? Fans have been wanting Charlotte Flair out of the title picture, and I guess she's sort of out of the title picture. But hey, she's been losing a lot more, even if she is still in the title picture a bit, but they've downgraded her to the point where she's teaming with Shotzi now. So that's really all I can really give to you guys. That's really all I can really say. That's the end of this video. That's really all I can give it. And so, yeah, that's really all I can say. This video is nearly an hour long and I'm ready to wrap it up. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I will see you all next time. Boy, the internet is gonna love this.